And updating big news and breaking stories in the boxes on the right-hand side. Tropical Storm Faye is now strengthening, going across Florida and gaining strength. The fear is that it could go back into the Atlantic and then turn back around and come back to Florida or southern Georgia. Also a twister touching down in Brevard County. That's along the Space Coast, the Kennedy Space Center there. In the middle box, Casey Anthony, the mother of Caylee, could walk out of an Orange County jail today. The question is, will she suddenly have some epiphany and decide that she knows where her daughter is after she gets home? The panel will have much more on that, but it is clearly something that America is talking about. I want to swing over here to Molly Lyons. The question is, does the family have more information than they're letting on, and does Casey know more than she's telling, Molly?
Well, Kelly from Texas says she thinks the parents have to keep up a private and public front so they'll get their daughter to talk if she eventually comes home. Carol in Texas says, why would this judge even let her out? She's confined. She'd have to be confined when she got home. She's not going to be any help at all. And Jill from Missouri says Casey Anthony will have nothing new to offer. She thinks it's crazy to come home and get a shower, get her nails done. It's not going to make her talk, in her opinion. And Bob says it's baffling why the bounty hunter thinks he can solve this mystery by getting her out of jail.
Molly, thanks very much. I want to swing over here to Marty Kavanaugh. You know, the question has been, the bounty hunter says, look, it's simple. If you let her go and she comes home, she takes a shower and she gets her nails done, then all of a sudden she'll be rested, relaxed, and then she will suddenly think, hey, I know where my daughter is missing for 2 months, Marty. What else are they saying?
Anthony in St. Petersburg, Florida, he says this whole story is whacked. How does Casey stay so calm? He would be tearing his hair out if his child was missing. He says maybe she knows and just doesn't care. Maybe Casey knows, sorry. Wanda in Jessup, Maryland says it's best to declare this a cold case. Police are wasting their resources and only Casey can solve this case. Mrs. Israel, she writes in and says it's good that Casey is getting out. There's no evidence except that she was dancing on the wrong date. And one more, we have Lisa in Alabama. She says, for all the people that say, will Casey ever talk, 3 people come to mind, Joran Vandersloot and the Calpo brothers.
Of course, going back to the Natalie Holloway case, which still to this day is unsolved, let's head up to Martha now with more on whether or not Casey will have something to add to this case. Martha.
Yeah, we've got a lot of opinions on that up here. Let me tell you, Trace, Bo Dietl is here. He's a former NYPD homicide detective, of course. Kimberly Guilfoyle is the host of The Lineup, and she's an attorney, of course, as well. Michael DeSharo is a defense attorney joining us today for the first time at the live desk, so welcome. Michael, do you think Casey's going to have any good information to share when indeed she does get out of jail?
Yes, because what her defense lawyer is going to do, he's going to first get her out, then talk to the prosecutor and work out some kind of immunity deal, and then walk in and give them everything that they have, which should solve this case. The prosecutor has a lot of pressure to find this kid. Once the immunity deal is worked out, we're going to know everything. Once the media circus calms down, that's when we're really going to get all the information. Because
I wouldn't bet on any time soon the media circus calming down in this case. But, you know, Kimberly, as a former prosecutor, it seems to me the prosecution doesn't have what they need to bring charges against her.
Let me tell you something. In this country, we don't give immunity to potential murderers. And right now, they have the forensic evidence that needs to come back. If that
when is it coming back?
Well,
How much longer do we have to wait for this forensic evidence?
It should have been back last week. It just depends upon how much of a usable quantity, the nature of it, whether it's been degraded at all, that type of thing, because they want to be able to survive any defense attacks.
Is it possible,
on them.
Kimberly, that some things came back, that the prosecution hasn't released them because now they said, well, let's run some more tests, that they're grasping at straws a little bit?
Yeah, and because once they file a charge in this case, they've got to turn everything over for the defense. Yeah. They want to make sure that they're on strong ground when they do this so as to not give the defense any opportunity. And this girl's not going to tell them anything, because if she does, it's just going to incriminate herself.
But we've got some shady characters involved in all of this now. You've got these bounty hunter guys showing up with $500,000. You know, what is this all about?
Well, he showed up with $50,000, I believe. He's a convicted felon. He's not exactly the guy.
What is he? He's convicted of?
He's a convicted, I believe, tax evader or something.
Okay.
But he's a convicted felon. Now, on top of this thing, what is the motive for him being there? It's very obvious. He's wearing a black hat. He looks like Yosemite Sam, whatever he is. And what he wants to do is get publicity, which he's getting. On top of it, what else? He has mentioned that he wants to watch over her. This is a 23-year-old little psychopath lady who had a baby. Her mother's nuts just like her. He wants to captivate her, maybe open up a few Budweisers, thinking that she's going to start to spill the beans where the child is. I really personally believe this woman is so out of it, the mother, that this child possibly died as an accident, and then she covered it up and buried that child somewhere. And that's the thing that would line up to this. I don't think she viciously killed this child, but I think that's something that could come out with the DNA and with the evidence. Once they charge her, then they can make a deal. Well, how did she die?
And isn't it strange that there's nothing to protect the kind of environment that you're discussing from happening?
He doesn't want
that this guy, and he has said, you know, when I do this kind of thing, I stay with this person 24 hours a day. We become bonded.
He's looking for a little bit more than just to consult her. He's looking to do a little pound-it-tation here, I think. He looks at this young girl as a target for him, and he doesn't want her to go to her mother and father. He wants to take care of her in Motel 6 and have a couple of Budweisers.
And there's a lot of
this is crazy.
People involved. And we have to remember the most important thing of all in this story is that this little girl is missing. You know, her life is either over or you know, something very bizarre is
maybe they'll come up with like a little joint or something and try to hypnotize her to tell where the baby is, when she buried the baby or whatever. But whatever he's doing, I'll be honest, on the other side of the coin, if this guy's such a psychopath and gets her to tell where that baby is buried or still alive, I'm all for it, because it's taking a little too long with the police there. But then again, they want to get a good solid case. They have her in jail, so they have all the time in the world.
Attorney should just cut a deal, manslaughter if it was an accidental killing.
All right, there's a story with some Boisms sprinkled along the way. Very colorful interpretation, but we
mature audiences.
Thank you.
Always enjoy having you. Thanks you guys for being here as well.
Thank you.
Mike and Kimberly, and we are going to cover this story as it continues to unfold. Trace, back to you in the news.